Welcome to the weather forecast on CIA TV channel. Dear friends, a major severe weather outbreak is expected today across parts of the United States where 80 to 100 mile damaging winds, very large hail as large as a size of 5 inches in diameter, and several tornadoes will be a possibility. So in today's forecast, we are going to break down exactly what you need to know about the weather that'll be impacting the United States over the next few days. Right now, we're not dealing with any significant severe weather as of this morning, but we've had some big storms overnight that have been weakening. These actually brought some damaging winds, hail kind of sporadically, anywhere from about Abilene, Texas, all the way back into northern Mississippi. Now, what's going to happen today is that this low pressure system that is all the way back up into Canada is going to be moving more to the southeast. And we are going to get some northwesterly flow, which is going to promote a very significant threat for the potential for either a very severe mesoscale convective system, which means a large line of thunderstorms, or maybe even a Dayu across the southern plains today, where widespread damaging winds and tornadoes will be a possibility. Then back over on the East Coast, we got a little mesoscale convective vortex that'll bring the potential for an isolated tornado or two this afternoon, in addition to damaging winds across areas like Maryland, Delaware, and even New Jersey. Now, let's talk more about the severe weather potential for the next few days, beginning with today, which is Sunday. And we have a level 4 out of 5 moderate risk of severe weather in place across parts of the southern plains. This includes northern North Texas and even southwestern Oklahoma. This does now include the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, so almost all the DFW area is included in this moderate risk. Wichita Falls, Texas, also back over near Childress, and just outside there of the Oklahoma City area. The enhanced risk does include Oklahoma City, the Texas Panhandle, and also the Oklahoma Panhandle. Then our slight risk of severe weather is just outside of St. Louis, into southeastern Iowa, and also back over into West Texas. We also have another slight risk back over on the East Coast. So 2 entirely different storm systems today. We got northwesterly flow, which is going to promote the potential for a line of thunderstorms, potentially even a Dayu today, which means a large swath of destructive winds across, again, a very large area. And that would include most of Oklahoma and Texas. And then, back over on the East Coast, a mesoscale convective vortex, remnant from yesterday, will bring the threat for some scattered damaging winds and perhaps a couple of tornadoes. So this is what it looks like right now. We got that moderate risk, again, including Dallas and Fort Worth. It includes Wichita Falls, just outside of Paris, Texas. The biggest concerns for today will be significant damaging winds. I do anticipate that we'll have widespread damaging winds between 80 to 100 miles per hour at times across parts of Texas and Oklahoma. This does include the Oklahoma City Metroplex. It also includes areas like Amarillo and Leech, where damaging winds could easily exceed 70 to 80 miles per hour. And also keep in mind that the ceiling today is upwards of 100 mile per hour winds, and I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we got a 105 to 110 mile per hour wind gust somewhere here in Oklahoma or Texas. Additionally, very large hail is going to be a possibility, especially from western Missouri, just outside of Kansas City. Also, tornadoes are a possibility. We have 2 different areas we're keeping an eye on, one of which is in the mid-Atlantic, where a couple tornadoes will be possible just outside of the Washington, D.C. area. And then back over in the southern plains, we have a large 5% tornado risk for Oklahoma and Texas. I would assume we're probably going to see 1 or 2 just to the west of Oklahoma City and just off there to the north of Wichita Falls. So definitely make sure that you have a tornado action plan ready to go. And if you're for some reason under any severe thunderstorm warning today at all, so you're definitely going to want to make sure that you're taking this very seriously across the central and southern plains, and make sure that you, your friends, and your family are staying weather aware and having multiple ways to receive warnings. As we go into Monday, the risk of severe weather will be shifting off to the east, where we have a large slight risk of severe weather anywhere from the Ohio Valley back into the southeast, and a marginal threat that extends from the high plains back over into New York. And so for Monday, we are expecting the main concern to be scattered damaging winds between 60 to 70 miles per hour. Not nearly as substantial as it will be today. Large hail is a possibility, especially out of our initial storms, and then there will be a chance for a couple of tornadoes. I think our main areas will be Ohio, western Pennsylvania, and just outside of the Buffalo, New York area. And then another 2% tornado risk, which is where we'll have a line of storms that'll be capable of producing an isolated tornado or two during the late morning and afternoon, from central Mississippi all the way back over into North Carolina. So, still notable back over along the East Coast. We are expecting a fairly elevated tornado threat across the southern plains. With the storms mostly being linear, the tornado threat is not going to be initially the most significant threat. In fact, it'll mostly be damaging winds initially. The one contingency, though, is if we see any discrete or semi-discrete supercells form out in front of our line of thunderstorms. This is where things could get very dicey, and we actually could end up seeing the potential for a large or even significant tornado during the afternoon or even early evening hours today. Once the line of storms becomes outflow dominant, the tornado threat drops off substantially, which will probably end up happening just south of I-20 in Texas. Another thing I want to point out for today is that we have an abundance of instability today, which is basically storm fuel. Notice our values here across Oklahoma and the Texas Panhandle, which is where storm initiation will be early this afternoon. Storms will initiate back over where all that instability is, back over in southwest Kansas, the northern Texas Panhandle, and also the Oklahoma Panhandle. The initial threat will be very large hail and damaging winds. The tornado threat will increase, I think, by 4 to 5 if we end up getting any discrete supercells out there, which, again, that's contingent. It may or may not happen. It's definitely something that could go either way. But if storms do end up going discrete, there is a potential there for a strong or even large tornado here in Oklahoma or Texas. By around 5 to 6, this will just be a large cluster of thunderstorms here, all the way from about Tulsa and Joplin back over towards Abilene and also just outside there of Leech and Amarillo. By 7 to 8, notice how this line of storms rapidly intensifies across parts of Texas near Wichita Falls. Then, by 9 to 10, these storms are rolling right into the Dallas-Fort Worth area with all hazards on the table. But by the time these get to the Dallas-Fort Worth area and southern Oklahoma, the biggest concerns will be damaging winds anywhere from 60 to 100 miles per hour, and then the potential for a few tornadoes. The large hail threat will be lower by the time these storms get to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. By around midnight, we still got a very intense line of storms ongoing from Fort Smith back over just south of Dallas-Fort Worth near Cleburne, where intense damaging winds will still be ongoing. Then by 1 to 2 in the morning, this line of storms is not going to end anytime soon. It's literally going to continue here. By 2 o'clock in the morning, these storms are approaching Little Rock, also Shreveport, and just to the north of Houston. And then by around 3 to 4 in the morning, I think this line of storms will start to finally lose its energy. Now, as we go into Monday, we are expecting severe weather to continue here across the southern plains. There will likely be a few more supercells that fire off back over in West Texas and also eastern New Mexico. The biggest concern with these will be isolated damaging winds and hail, and then maybe an isolated tornado threat as well out of one of those supercells. Then on Tuesday, more severe weather is expected, but a lot of this will be back over in west and southern Texas, with damaging winds and hail as the main concern, and still a low tornado risk existing. Also, this is the timing for today. Back over in the mid-Atlantic region, there will be a mesoscale convective vortex, and by around 3 to 4 o'clock, the tornado threat should start to increase across parts of Virginia and Maryland. Again, there will be a couple of tornadoes, I think, embedded in these little supercells that'll form just off to the east of the Appalachian Mountains. I think the greatest threat will just be outside of Washington, D.C. This should be about a 4, 5, 6 hour threat, the greatest threat, I think, from about 2 until about 8 o'clock. Then eventually, by around 10 to 11 o'clock, we got a little cluster here that's going to be going across southern Maryland and also Delaware that'll move offshore. And then on Monday, a few more scattered showers and thunderstorms will be possible. A little bit of a severe weather potential here back over in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York, where there will be a line of storms capable of damaging winds and also a potential for an isolated tornado or two. Then, storms will also be ongoing in the Carolinas and as well as Georgia, where this will be mostly hail and wind. a line of storms will try to form again, coming off of that potential data that we're going to have tomorrow. And that could also produce the potential for damaging winds and an isolated tornado back over in Georgia. And this is a little closer look at that. So again, notice how that line of storms will weaken tomorrow morning. And then by tomorrow afternoon, there will be a lot of storms firing up near the Gulf Coast, all the way back over into the Tennessee Valley, with hail and wind being the main concerns. But a tornado or two are going to be a possibility. If we get a tornado, it's going to be pretty sporadic unless we have an organized line of storms, which right now does not look likely. One thing I'll keep an eye on is this maybe small little low pressure system that could form over the southern plains. That could bring some severe weather Wednesday, Thursday. But really, by next weekend is when I think things will start to ramp up back up again. We're going to have a large ridge, I think, across the southern plains. It's not fully over yet, but definitely some promising signs here that we'll likely start to see severe weather lifting further off to the north here as we go later into June, which means areas like Texas should finally get a break. But that also means summer heat is on the horizon. We will continuously update the storm situation in the next news. Please subscribe to the channel to follow. Thank you for watching the news on CIA TV channel.